Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Real Deal. On this Monday, it's been all but confirmed that Carlo Ancelotti will be going to Brazil. Before the Club World Cup itself, he should be taking over in June. So that's the big news today. How are you doing, Jarod?
I'm doing well, Sid. I'm happy for Carlo that he gets a, I wouldn't say it's a less stressful job. It's probably just as stressful. The difference is he doesn't have the week in, week out, mania of dealing with, the club from the Spanish capital, right? So I think that'll be a little bit easier on him. I'm happy for Vinny and Rodrigo and Endrick in that they get to still hang out with Don Carlo as he will still be able to manage them, and I think that's going to be helpful for him integrating himself into the squad because despite what's gone on this year, I know for sure those guys still hold Carlo in high esteem. And it's nice to know that the club said that they're going to really finish out their last game of La Liga and give him the tribute send off he deserves, put all his trophies out on display, which, I mean, that's the way you do it, right? I think it's just, it ran its course, right? I was going to say it worked. 2 Champions Leagues and 2 La Ligas and a Copa del Rey in what, 3 years, 4 years? That's fantastic. So he did a fantastic job, and it's time for that era to come to an end, and he deserves a fitting send off, and the club will give it to him.
Yes. And with that, now we know he's gone, and we know the squad needs some surgery. We need to figure out who we're keeping, who needs to go out on loan, maybe get some minutes, and who we're over completely, and who's just better off somewhere else. So today we're doing keep, sell, loan. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But before that, we're going to go in the order of the highest to the lowest wage earners in the first team. So the highest wage earners, I set up the screen, Kylian Mbappe. So we're loaning him out, right? To get
it. Yeah, work on his skill set, get his 1-2 touching a little bit better under control. He needs to be a little better clinically, finishing in front of goal. I mean, obviously, tongue in cheek here. He's a clear keep. No doubt about that. Not much needs to be said. But what I will say, Sid, and this is going to be a theme that's going to recur with a lot of the players, whomever the manager is that's coming in, whatever. And I hope that manager's pragmatic, which I believe that if it is Xabi Alonso, he is a pragmatic guy, even though he started with 3 at the back and a lot of time at Leverkusen. What I hope he does is implement a system that works for not only who they're keeping, but the idea of who they think they're going to be bringing in and who they're bringing up so that it works for the betterment of the team. Everyone's got a bunch of skill sets that are outstanding. Some are in more demand than others. Obviously, in a sport like football where one goal can decide a match, people who score goals get featured a lot more. But everyone, Sid, has to give up and sacrifice of their talents for the betterment of the whole. And I hope that whoever comes in and does that is able to get that point across and build that kind of culture.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it goes without saying we're keeping Mbappe on that note. We're not, there's no, I think it's funny that some people would rather him not be here or just it be one of him or Vinicius. They see no possibility of coexisting. But Mbappe's not going anywhere. He signed the contract. So that's done. Second highest wage earner on the team. Can anyone take a guess? You want to take a guess who that is? I mean, we already talked about it. It's
I knew who it was, and I was like, whoa, this is wild. And it is David Alaba. And he is making $22.5 million. Here's the thing about Alaba. It's expiring. It ends in 2026. The question is about who are we selling him to? Who's going to buy him at that price? So to pay whatever the sell fee is and to pay that salary. Who wants him on loan? I think, Sid, we're kind of stuck and we have to keep him. Not because I want to. I just don't think we have many options to go. No smart team is like, yes, please, give me a 32-year-old center back who can't play football anymore. Yes, sign me up for that and pay money to get him and pay him $22.5 million a year. I just don't think any smart team's going to do that. Maybe there's a dumb club who'll do it. Fine. If they exist, let's send them over there and let them take him. I just don't think it'll happen. So in that regard, since we have to keep him because there's no choice, what I would like to do, Sid, is appeal to his care for the club and his love of the sport of football and say, David, we are going to keep you because we don't have a whole lot of choice. We want you to be part of the squad from a mentoring standpoint, from a advising the young guys standpoint, because we think our young center backs in Castilla can be really good. but who better to learn from than from you, one of the great center backs that's ever played, right? We might bring in a young center back from somewhere else. Who better to learn from than from you? So would you be interested in helping us mentor the young guys we bring in?
I think I agree if we couldn't sell him, but in recent years there's been a new little cheat code, Saudi Arabia.
Fine, take him. Yes.
What's crazy is I don't even know if Saudi wants to pay that salary. I don't think they would pay us a big transfer fee and that salary. And I think we're in the Benzema boat where Benzema just left mutual consent. I believe that was mutual consent, and so. And they didn't pay us, like, maybe they paid us a small fee for him. It was kind of rumored it might have been somewhere between 5, 10, 15 million. But I guess, like, if we can sell him though, and like
sell him to Saudi, Sid, I would take no fee, but you take on the salary, fine. And that we get zero in return, but you take on the salary for the year, fine. I'm cool with that. If Saudi wants him, I'm happy. But if nobody wants to, then I think the only other option is that mentor role.
Yeah. So I'll say Alaba if possible.
Yeah, if possible. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, should be possible. Saudi, come on, man. Like you guys have done Chelsea. They did Chelsea so many favors, and they had like 10 Alabas like a few years ago. And they had so many of them. And all right, next up, number 3, Vinicius. Well, it feels like, the reports trying to lead us to believe he might be sold even if we don't want him to, but do not sell at any cost. That goes without saying.
Right.
I don't care when the reports come out saying he wants to get paid more than Mbappe. He's a better player. I would be a little, at this point, I would probably negotiate for more money than Mbappe if I were him too. Come on. And if you're not getting it, if Perez isn't willing to give that to him, you have to question Florentino. Like, dude, he's just better than Mbappe. You got to pay the best player on your team the most. Ronaldo didn't get paid less than Bale just because, like, Bale was signed by Perez after and had, like, higher stature when he was signed, So, yeah.
I'm dead on there. Obviously, we're keeping Vinny. Look, this part now is where things get tenuous, Sid. And I think we'll do another episode on this sometime this summer, on factions developing in the locker room. This is when you have a chance to things get a little harebrainy and a little funny. And so, yes, I understand that Vinny wants to get paid more. What I would, because then if you do that, then Jude's going to be like, well, wait a minute. What? We get down a slippery slope. And so what I want, Florentino, Jose Angel Sanchez, and whoever the manager is going to be, because again, the 3 of them need to be in lockstep. And I want them to set out a clear directive from on high. This is how we feel about X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter if you're making 1,000 more a week than this person or this person or this person. If you are not pulling your weight and you have the power to get benched, all the variety of things, right? So that, because that's what matters to these guys the most. Yes, they care about that stuff, but if they know, oh, I'm undroppable, which I think was a lot of a problem this year, right, Sid, where guys knew I'm never getting sat regardless. Oh, no, I don't care how much you make. If you're not doing what we want, I'm going to sit you. And I have the backing of the higher ups that matter. I think if you make that clear, all this who's getting paid more, I'll get it figured out in the wash. They will be like, nah, we know what matters here. What matters is being on the pitch, contributing and scoring, and us winning titles and trophies. Because when that happens, all the money comes and everything works out well in the end.
Yeah, and Carlos the first, it's just been so long. We just haven't been in this spot in a while. It's usually been like, we have too much talent and the coach needs to stand up. Carlo has been in the weird spot where it's like, we barely have enough talent. This coach is here specifically because we don't have enough to see us through this period. And it's just been a while, I feel like, since we've had this problem. Like Zidane, Mourinho, they had none of these issues. They benched whoever they wanted. They benched Benzema, played Ronaldo at striker if they wanted. They benched Thomas and Isco and told Perez, like, I don't care if they're worth 300 million, like, I'm not playing them. And Thomas is not making my Champions League final bench, like, if I don't need him. So I agree fully. And I think it's also weird. You're just very rarely in a case where you pursue a player for so long where a state like kind of prevents you from getting him by making him offers that no other club has ever made. And then the moment he lands, like, he's been having so many bad habits that he's just not worth the contract you paid him, but you had no choice but to give him that contract to get him through the door.
But that goes back to your original question, Sid, which is, and I'm not saying that you don't sign a guy like Mbappe, but had we chosen to spend that money on strengthening the squad that just won the double, would we be in a better place now than where we are if we had done that? And my answer is yes, we probably would have. We probably would be better off. Let's put it this way. We wouldn't be getting flamed out in the quarters by Arsenal in the Champions League. And right? Because again, this is a team that won the double last year with Vinny, Rodrigo, and Jude, right? As that box crashing midfielder. So if we spent that 100 million transfer fee and then add the wages on strengthening, and here's the thing: if we have competent fullbacks, tell me we're not better this year if we have competent fullbacks.
No, I agree. I think what it comes down to is I think we had the money to do it, but I think our funds are only available if the guy is someone we think will be top 3 in his position. I think we sour very aggressively. So we could have had that summer, but it was a summer of getting guys who are not top 3 at their position, but who are more than good enough to lead us to where we want to be in terms of what you're describing, but who are not top 3. Like Tony's from Brentford, guys, guys who can head the ball, a Joselu archetype who's in his prime, maybe costs 40 to 60 million nowadays. Sure, they would have helped. I personally see why the club didn't go for that, but I guess that brings us to we're here now. Are you paying Vinny whatever he wants? Are you? I think what we do is accept we kind of messed up, and it's just hard because Mbappe, if once he gets overpaid, everybody below him, which is everyone but Vinny and Jude, might start wanting a little more. But I feel with Mbappe, at least you can be okay, you get 25. After that, the rest of you, unless you're Mbappe, Vinny, Jude, you got to negotiate differently. I feel that can still be achieved, but you got to bump Vinny and Jude to 30 then.
But this is the thing, right? This is why squad construction and roster construction is not done in a vacuum. There are unintended consequences that happen all the time. Yes, in theory, you always go after the best available player. Yeah, that all sounds well and good. But if it's going to start messing up with the inner working dynamics of your organization, you have to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? That's what you have to ask yourself, right? Is it worth the squeeze? And we've seen Florentino in past iterations try the Galactico method and it fail miserably, right? Getting rid of Makalele, who is essential to this team because he was defending when Zidane told him, you got to keep that dude because I'm not defending. Right? What's the famous quote about the Rolls Royce? It's you don't take out
you don't put another layer of paint on the car when you remove the engine or something.
Right. What? So, I mean, okay, great. The car looks super shiny. It can't do shit, but looks shiny. Right. So I think, again, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen or whatever. I'm just, when you decide you're going to make a move, any move, it has to be done with the utmost care and thinking about not just what's going to happen immediately, what is going to happen 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years, right? You have to have that foresight. So it's short-term, medium-term, long-term. And, short-term, clearly, they didn't think about it well enough because they didn't bolster themselves anywhere else. And this is the season we got as a result.
And Mbappe's stats were just so high. It was hard to fathom that even under a coach who's not doing the best job, maybe, of telling him where to stand, kind of giving him clarity where it might not be given from the environment. It just feels you couldn't have given him much less than 30 million. And now, so he's at 30 million a year. Alaba is at 22 million euros a year. Then Vinny's at 20. Jude's at 20 as well. So obviously you keep Bellingham.
Of course. Yeah, that's my note about that was keep Bellingham, give him more rest.
Yes. And then, so we keep Bellingham, rest more. But yeah, you'd say you keep Vinny and pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah. I mean, within reason. I'm not paying him $50 million, but yes, you pay him whatever he wants.
Vinicius, within reason. He's not asking for that, so I'll just say Vinicius. He's asking for the most on the team, as far as I can gather, which is fair.
Fine.
It's fair. He's the best player. He's better than Mbappe. It's just funny. A lot of guys were saying that before the season. They're the best player plays for him. Listen, I don't want to get ahead. At the end of the day, per 90 minutes, you could make an argument that Mbappe is clearly better for years. Or you could argue Vinny gets there for stretches of every season, but per 90 minutes, statistically, it wasn't obvious. So that's where I just when we go after guys who are such no-brainers. Mbappe was a no-brainer just mathematically. There's a point you reach mathematically where you're a no-brainer. And that's why I also push back on the idea that he's the one causing the problems, Jarod. Because if it mathematically so much is rock solid with him that it has to be something else leading to that being the factor that we're pointing at is the reason we're not doing well. Like, yes, in October he was choking, but again, like Rodrigo doesn't even get open for those in October.
But remember, right? It's never one problem. It's a multitude of things, right? The reason why this team was not underperforming this year is not Kylian Mbappe is not the sole issue. Integrating him and his integration, yes, that contributed to some poor play. Carlo's inability to have structure and discipline, like right, the list, the board's inability to sign players in depth. Like there's 75 reasons why the season was bad, right? Kylian is just one of those factors. That's all. Not the only, and not even the most important. Just one of.
Definitely. Now, Fede Valverde.
I mean, this is just like Jude, the greenest of all greens. Here's what I love about Valverde, because I was doing all the figuring out here with the money. So he's a clear keep. He's making good money. I think he doesn't expire till 2028 is I think when his deal expires, if I'm not mistaken. Him like Jude, rest more. Keep, rest more.
Yeah, it was convenient that I just got to copy paste Jude, Vinny, Jude, change that name. It's the same thing. Next, Courtois. I mean, like,
so you know what's so funny about Courtois? And of course, he's a keep and he's a steal, honestly, at $15 million a year. Now, here's the interesting thing, Sid. His contract expires in 26, and at the end of 26, he'll be 33. So I'm not saying you don't re-sign him then. What I am saying, though, is that at the end of 26, you start having your eye towards the future of what is coming up next. Will Lunin still be here? And we'll get to Lunin. What a steal he is at the money he's making. Does he still want to, right? So I just, when that contract ends for Courtois in 26, and again, he's a steal at 15 million, so it's a clear keep, we have to start looking towards the future.
Yeah, so I'll say Courtois 2026, and I'll just say Courtois keep. I'll just leave that now. Yeah. But yes, we do have to think about the future with him. And then Rudiger is an interesting one. I think, I mean, just like I think goalie and center back are the positions where you look like you have it physically, you stay. Alaba, the problem is like physically he's not it. So I think you move on quickly. Rudiger is, I'm going to be honest, I don't see him going away anytime soon. And it's because he has very little mileage before Real Madrid. And so no matter how much mileage we put on him for a few years, like at the end of the day, it's at center back. 3 hard years of center back are like equivalent to 10 hard years as winger, like just in terms of what they do to your body. And I think, even if he has to have a year where he doesn't play as much, I think this is a guy who ages gracefully. I don't think he like suddenly loses athleticism. Like, I just don't think he has the mileage to actually decline like a traditional center back, like Alaba. Like Alaba's been playing for, like, he was a prodigy. He's been playing since 2013. Rudiger, like, really only got going towards the end of last decade, started this decade. So I'm going to say keep for him.
So he is getting paid $14.5 million, I believe, and his contract is expiring. It ends at the end of this coming season. So I'm with you on keeping. What I would say, though, is, to your point, we have to start looking at resting him more because, yes, he doesn't have as many miles, but he got really banged up this year. And he is an athletic, physical center back. And I wonder what those injuries he played on this year is going to do to him going forward. If we keep putting the kind of minutes we're putting on him, he cannot keep playing that minute load. The minutes, I mean, he's like in Fede territory this year. Not to mention, it's not just about Real Madrid minutes. It's also national team minutes. And he is a stalwart with the German national team playing center back for them as well. So I would want to be cautious about that. So I'm down to keep him. And then at the end of the year, when he wants to re-sign, we ain't re-signing it more than 14. We're going below that number, my guy, because you'll now be 33. So already starting to look at the phase out because we've got young Castilla players we think can come up. So that's what I would say about Rudiger.
Yeah, definitely. And then this is a tough one. After that, you have Eder Militao. I mean, it's tough in that, like, what do we do? So his contract runs out in 2028. Yeah, he signed one, I guess, while he was recovering from his last ACL tear.
And I know why the club did it, but this is where, Sid, you can't be sentimental as an organization. Like, I get why you do it. It's like, we want to tell the guy we believe in him and all that. But he's eating up a roster spot. And it's not like you can just be like, okay, let me put somebody else there. You can't. That's not how it works, right? You only have 25 spots. And so now we have a player who's coming off 2 ACLs, 1 to each knee, right? Who was already athleticism and physicality was his calling card. You are nowhere going to be near as athletic and physical with 2 ACLs, right? 27, you expire in 2028. I would say, honestly, Sid, I'm in the sell camp. The question is, who's going to take him coming off 2 ACLs? But for me, it's sell on Militao.
Yeah, I'm there. I think you try to get rid of him. I don't think you try to rehab him. If you keep him, I mean, he's just on this deal for years. So I agree. And as soon as he tore it the second time, like, damn, it's just like 3% chance maybe that you ever become something useful to Real Madrid ever again. 3 out of 100 worlds, maybe 5 out of 100 worlds where he's like there. So that gets us to Rodrigo.
Well,
I just feel like whatever people wanted to say, and there was a lot of people who were like, don't forget the R, don't forget Rodrigo. Dude, he's not on the tier of the other 3. He wasn't all season. When he played well, it was him benefiting from space and like weapons around him. He just isn't fast enough to create separation off the dribble. And unfortunately, it got exposed at the end of the season, and he scored like once in 20 games. Every once in 20 games, he dribbles past 3 guys, shoots an amazing long shot. And you're like, oh, what's the problem with Rodrigo? I'm like, that he does this like 3 times a season and then starts acting like he's like as good as Vinicius. That's the problem with Rodrigo.
Listen, I will not disagree with anything you said. I am a fan. I like Rodrigo. This has been Vinny had a poor year. Rodrigo had an even worse year. He's making $12.5 million, so not a ton of money, but his contract also goes through 2028. So the problem is, I have him in the sell category, obviously. The problem with that, Sid, is that the player also has to agree, right, when you want to sell them. And if Rodrigo, for some reason, puts up a stink like, I don't want to go, I would be very clear, being like, well, that's cool, my guy, but let me tell you what's going to be the situation here. You are not a starter on this team. If you want to stay, you are a bench player. And we'll see where it fits in to have you come in, right? But your skill set is duplicative with Vinny and Mbappe, and you're not as good as them. So you and Brahim will be fighting for minutes off the bench as subs, but you will not be getting starter minutes. And so my guess is if you tell him that, his desire to leave may change. He'll be like, well, if I'm not going to start, then screw it, And I think, look, part of this isn't, and you don't need to be disrespectful or rude about it. Like, there's no need to do that. You can be honest and forthright and upfront. New manager comes in, here's my vision, here's what I see. But as the famous line in Jerry Maguire was said, this is not show friends, it's show business, right? Like, this is a business. And if you don't fit what we're doing here, business-wise, right? Because for rising, your skill set is duplicative of all things, we're going to have to go. And if we can make some money by moving you and then use that money to bolster us in positions and profiles that we're weak in, we're going to do it. So for me, it's sell. And if he doesn't want to sell, if he doesn't want to go, you say, well, you're not a starter, my guy. You're on the bench. And if you're fine being on the bench, then okay, he won't want to do that. So he'll go. Yeah.
And I think there's teams like, I honestly think he would be awesome for a Man City or an Arsenal. Like, he can keep the ball and like be unpredictable while playing within a team concept.
Mm-hmm.
And like those teams where they don't want you taking guys on all the time, he's perfect because he's so good at keeping the ball when pressed. It's just when you have to go and like actually beat your man down the field, like race and like have when it becomes a question of just slicing past guys off the dribble, he's just not there. And those teams love that. They love it when you just recycle possession so they can keep. Like I really think he's like the perfect, like he could play like right down the middle for those teams too. Like he would be awesome.
And guess what? And he might even unlock the best version of him, which I'm not one of these Madrid fans who's like, if we sell someone, I want them to fail somewhere else. I want them to be the best. It wasn't going to happen here for a variety of reasons. Okay, I don't wish ill on you. I want you to succeed and flourish where you can. If those organizations are better for you because systematically they work, then let's do it.
Definitely. So Rodrigo, next up, Tchouaméni. I think it's pretty unanimous. Like keep. like he just became exactly what we spent 100 million for, and like that what like most teams in Europe wanted when like they offered that like a lot of money for him. He's just rock solid, reliable. You don't really find that many guys who can play in front of defense, who can pass and defend at a high level. His ceiling when he does it all together is still up there with anyone in Europe, in my opinion. So no reason to sell.
He is 25 years old. And I honestly think people might think I'm crazy for this. I don't think he's anywhere near his peak as a DM, as a 6. I think he's trending there. Sid, I think he could be the best DM in the world. I really do. Like, he has that ability. But what he needs to do that is not be shuttled back and forth between center back and all this other nonsense. Like, he has to play the position he's meant to play with a coach that's going to give some structural discipline to the rest of the squad. I think you'll unlock a version of Tchouaméni that you're like, whoa. Because look at him, then he can come in and head the ball like we've seen the last 2 games, right? Like he can distribute. Like he's a great interceptor of the ball, tackler. Like I love Tchouaméni. He's the keepest of all keeps. $12.5 million, I think, for a player like that through 2028 is a steal, provided he plays the position he's supposed to play, which is DM and not center back.
Yeah, agreed. And he's not even bad at center back, but
right.
The problem with that was he was like okay at center back and then not good at DM, and that
right
was like,
because you're retarding his growth, because now he's going to do a different set of skills. Keep him where his skills can ascend and flourish. Not okay. Now we're going to stunt you back a little bit. Now you got this constant toggling back and forth. And again, that's on Carlo and the board for not having proper reinforcements and trust in the academy.
Well, I think it worked like it has a happy accident last year when like he wasn't having the best season at DM and we could absorb it. We still had Cruz, Fede, Camavinga, and it's like, okay, him at center back isn't the worst thing in a season where and there was no Asensio last year. But yeah, once Asensio came out and then we were like debating who should be playing center back. And then I'm just glad it worked out for him this season. And like too. It kind of came out of nowhere that he suddenly became consistent in a still dysfunctional team. And I'm glad he did. But yeah. Sign. And I mean, he was pretty healthy at the end of the year, which is good because him and Camavinga, that's been the big problem too. Just constantly getting hurt. Next, we go to Camavinga, and I mean, they're on the same deal. Like, I don't care how much he's getting hurt. It really, he could play half the season. It wouldn't matter. On this contract, you'd have to be getting hurt like 20-30% more than he is now,
right?
Not want to keep him, which is just because he's so good when he plays,
right?
He's so good.
I mean, you said it all. His contract actually expires in 29, so a year later than Tchouaméni's. Same money, $12.5 million, and he's younger. Camavinga's 22. I want to, yes, 22. I love Camavinga. Yes, his problem has been the injuries, and so this season, this offseason, and this current season is very important and critical to me. And this is, again, where I go to the team in terms of medical profile, performance staff. Hey, man, you have a generational type talent in midfield in Camavinga. We need this guy to be healthy. Whether it's because he has an abundance of high, tight, fast twitch muscle fibers, whatever the situation may be, y'all need to figure out a program that works best for him. Real Madrid should be innovative in this area with personalizing what each player needs to be at their optimal best. So let's get Camavinga on that program because I sound like a broken record, but my God, if you get a midfield of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Fede, and Bellingham, we should be destroying all of Europe with that midfield. Destroying, because those guys are young, skilled, fit, uber athletic, super talented, right? And so I want to see Camavinga get to the best version of himself, and he's nowhere near that. He is just scratching this. We've seen glimpses. You've not seen anything consistent. And we know the best ability is availability, right? That's if you can't play, none of that stuff matters. So your job as a club, and it's on the player too, y'all got to come to some kind of situation where we figure out how do we make sure that I am fit and ready to roll at the start of next season. So I play my first full season since I've been in a Real Madrid uniform for sure. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And someone who was supposed to be put on that type of program 7-8 years ago when we signed him, who's still around, Danny Ceballos. Just because like you're talking about all this, I'm like, dude, if they're good, we'll sign them. And like, to be honest, the program, it might be 30 years of us signing young guys. We might never have a program. Like, I remember when Kovacic signed, he was supposed to get like mentored to be the next Modric. Ceballos came in, like he was the most promising Spanish midfielder. It's just funny because like Ceballos is still here, and this is what happens when you don't get put on the program. You kind of just become whatever the club needs. But hey, you still get paid. Ceballos is on 10.4 million a year. I don't know if that's probably before taxes. You still get paid a lot, but you still get that. You know, it's a lucrative career, even if they don't prioritize your individual development. You get a lot. But I'm gonna say you keep him because as long as like if I hate it, but if you're at that stage where maybe Ceballos is closer to the Nacho or Lucas Vazquez phase where he's happy to do what the club needs. Maybe he's okay going into seasons not as a starter. He offers so much in his role that I don't see how you can sell him. I don't know if you get much better really at that wage, the experience of the club. Like, I think he's a good squad player at this point, squad midfielder.
It's interesting you say that because for all the reasons I said you have to keep Camavinga because of and get him on the program. What worries me about Ceballos is he's 28. So he's older. And so my thing is like at that number, I hear you that squad player only 10.4 million. It's not a lot. I wonder if we couldn't get something better out there that's younger and we can develop at a cheaper rate. Can we promote someone from Castilla? Is that Kema, right? Like, so I'm in the sell Ceballos camp. Because again, at 28, what are the chances he's all of a sudden now going to find the health and the whatever that we need, right? Because injuries have been his thing his whole career, essentially, right? At 22, Camavinga is still young. Jury's not out on him yet. At 28, we've got a long sample size of kind of seeing this happening, right? And so for me, sell at the right price. Again, and can we promote someone like, Kema or whoever? Because again, he was a squad player, right? It's not like although this year we needed him desperately. I like his profile, right? Can we develop that profile in someone else who's younger?
Yeah. My hot take is that it's actually easier for a 28-year-old to have the required maturity in midfield. It's kind of like Tchouaméni, where like maybe he pops statistically, but then he's inconsistent the first few years, 22 to 25. Mm-hmm. It seems like we've seen a lot of midfielders just struggle to play the position until they get older. And so my big worry is like, firstly, if you go for someone younger who can do the job, it's going to be someone who's going to cost you like Arda. So I don't think you can actually get anything but potential. And I think you pay more for potential. So I think if you swap Ceballos out for potential, like an Arda, pay more for that. And I don't know if you get better control. Like control is just so elusive. And I'm not a scout, to be honest. Like I don't watch every team.
But you need control.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's very rare that you get guaranteed some semblance of it anywhere in football, especially at the highest level. And I think at 10 million a year, I'm keeping Ceballos for what he can do. Because like, yes, it was Carlo's fault possibly that like he was so important and necessary, maybe because Carlo doesn't detail. There are worlds where Zidane or someone else just kind of gets fed up and it's like, hey, Danny, like come in, make the right pass, but also kind of stay in shape and defend. Like, so I don't have to put in two guys, one who does each job. Denny, he's a mix of profiles that you don't always find. And it really comes down to my fear of like controlling midfielders are hard. Like you don't get too many guys who have creativity don't always become controllers. Guys who like have potential like Ceballos end up having 5-6 years after that potential, or Tchouaméni where they don't realize it. If anyone's going to go do that, for me, it's got to be Arda, dude, like within the squad. And so from that standpoint, I actually do trust Arda and Ceballos. Like Arda is like you develop Arda as a controller, and then you have Ceballos as a backup. I don't know if you would go and get someone younger than Ceballos because you want a guarantee there. So that's my argument.
No, and I don't disagree with your argument. And again, it's not like I'm like, please kick him out the door. It's more, to your point, can we get a system set up whereby we're not so reliant on him, but he gets to the point where he is fit enough where that he can handle, hey, I need you to control and also get back and defend, right? Like, so that you can also help mentor a guy like Arda. So I'm not, look, my thing about like, can Kema do it, whatever, is because Kema wouldn't cost us because he's already part of Castilla, right? So whatever Castilla contract he has, like, it is what it is, right? So I think that was my only thing. But yeah, at 10.4, the value, I think you're not killing yourself there, right? With the kind of money he's making.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's where maybe someone else would say, no, I can, like, again, a scout might say this dude, you could get him on 5 million. You might know someone somewhere in Europe you could get for less. Also, Camavinga, that's not a Castilla contract, by the way. Camavinga was like, that's just a teenage superstar contract.
No. I meant Kema, the player from Castilla, not Camavinga. There's a player, not Kema, Chema.
I heard Kema the whole time.
Kema.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. And then Carvajal, 10 million. Oof, that is a tough one. Contract expires 26. Listen, Carvajal is going to have to be like year to year. I think you keep him because contract runs out and then you keep him on 1 year deals. So I'm going to just say keep because of that.
Yeah, keep. Deal expires in 2026, only 10.4 million, but advise him going forward. My guy, it's looking like you're headed towards the reserve route. All right. Because you are 33. I know you had gluten-free Carvajal and you had the little Renaissance and all that, but in all likelihood, we're signing Trent. And if we're signing Trent, that means Trent's playing, right? So again, I think he loves the club. It's like, as a lot of the Spanish players, like, this is the club of my life, right? Like, so I think he'll be fine staying and being okay being in a reserve role. And I like him being here because the club means a lot to him and he can teach these guys like Trent and these younger guys coming in what it means to wear the Real Madrid shirt and what the badge means, right? I think it's important to have enough of those guys around so they understand, hey man, this is we're not just here, right? This club means something. We're not Barcelona, Mascayne club and all that propaganda they put out, but we are the winningest club in the history of world football. And it means something. The greats have worn this shirt and it means a lot. And here's what it means. So I think that's very important that we have a player like that he knows we no longer are counting on you to be in every game, 90-minute plus. No, those days are behind you, my friend.
Yeah. And I think he's great to keep at the club. Like, if he's willing to take 1 year deals, he would be perfect to have behind Trent. And I think he is a very Mr. Real Madrid type of person, like you said. So, I mean, he really, after Ramos, like, he is the next, like, Spanish Real Madrid player who kind of carries that Spain and Real Madrid torch with him. So, next up, we got this one's easy. Ferland Mendy.
Listen, shout out to Team France. I love the French national team. I love those guys. They're great. And I like Mendy a lot. Mendy's 29. He's making $10.4 million. Deal expires in 28. Can we sell this dude? Please sell Mendy.
I put his first and last name there.
That's how you know it's not just one, it's a Ferland Mendy. When we put your whole government name out there, that means, hey man, you gotta go.
Yeah, not Benjamin Mendy, not Nuno Mendes. We mean you, Ferland Mendy. Like, not Eduard Mendy. Eduard Saudi, you want another one? We got another one. It's funny because Eduard Mendy, he's an example of why you can sell them almost anything, dude. Like, he's just weird because, like, Chelsea get him, they start playing him instead of Kepa, they win the Champions League, which is awesome. Then I think, from what I gather, like, he ended up being as bad as Kepa, like, the year after, and it's just like that one stretch during the Champions League, he was good. And then they're like, damn, we don't want him. And Saudi's like, we'll take him because you're iconic now. You're marketable. Everyone knows Eduard Mendy, the Chelsea goalie who won the Champions League.
I mean, take you to how we'd market him is, Ferland Mendy, shut down left back. He shut down Mo Salah, Lamine Yamal, all these great wingers en route to Real Madrid's 15th Champions League title. That's how I'd sell him.
Yeah. Maybe tell Cristiano that he'll help you win the league for the first time with Al Nassr. But yeah, then so Ferland, Luka Modric. So contract is expiring this summer.
This year.
This is really, really tricky. I think though, if there's a time to move on from Modric, it could be now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, but there's no category for him here. I'll just create a fourth one, but let go.
Yeah, it on my sheet said he's expiring. Do not resign, and it is painful to say that because this is a legend, not only of Real Madrid, but let's be real. If you are a Real Madrid legend, that means you're also a legend of world football. He is a world football legend. The only Real Madrid player who gets standing ovations from visiting fan bases when we go play on the road, right? Because everyone else hates us, but they're like, we got to respect Modric. A Ballon d'Or winner, took little Croatia to the World Cup final. I mean, won 5 Champions League. I mean, he is one of the great midfielders of all time. But that time has come to an end. He's 40 years old. Like, we cannot be defending on a 40-year-old midfielder. Because again, it's not just that he's on the squad. He's taking up a roster spot, guys. Like, you're like, oh, we won't play him that much. It doesn't matter. He's taking a spot up, which means that it's a spot no one else can occupy, right? Someone else who needs development minutes. And so to me, we have to move on from Luka Modric.
I just feel like we're gonna throw him on instead of Arda in the exact same role, and like we're gonna not gonna learn anything about Luka in those minutes about the team. We might pull it off, and it's like, oh, he's did it again. But with Arda, like, you have a chance of developing him, growing into that role, and owning it from the first minute. We started Kroos and Modric for a decade. We didn't bring them off the bench when they were old to like close games. We started that profile for a decade. So I'm really worried that it's too easy to press the Luka button, and I think if we keep him. Mm-hmm. I actually think the worry is we play him too much if we over guys who get better. That's
because if he's here, you have to play him. That's the problem, right? You can't just it's not like Militao and Alaba where it's like, no, you have to play Modric if he's here. But my thing is like, just keep him away. And here's the other thing: if Xabi Alonso is going to be our coach, don't put Xabi Alonso in that decision where he has to make that call and tell his friend, "I'm never playing you." Don't make him have to do that. Just make it easy and say, Luka, we love you, but no, we're just not doing it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make that note because, like, I do see a world where he stays and Arda develops and it works, and he's a locker room leader who needs to be that. And like, because I saw him in preseason, like his touch is still so good, but you can only do so much with a touch when you can't move all the time, right. And like it's a physical sport. And every time he's out there, he runs his heart out. But even you can tell watching him, like, a lot of it is just him hoping that he can outwit the opponent, because he just, if he can outwit them, he looks like he's one step ahead.
But physically, he can't. Right.
Yeah. If he can't outwit them, he's always one step behind, and we're done.
And how many times have we seen it this year? It's like, oh crap, here we go. Luka can't catch him. Foot race. Like, if it's a foot race between Luka and we're losing, and it's over, right? Like, and so.
And he does track back. He tries, but yeah, it's too much. But I will say, if he's in a position where it's truly like, okay, I'm done. I'm only here to make it easy for you, Xabi, and not on the pitch necessarily. That's the context where I want him. Where
then fine, yeah,
like where we're paying him to be a glorified like hybrid coach almost. I'm cool with that.
Fine,
not as a player.
Yes, not at the expense of Arda's development. No, can't do it.
And then Lucas Vasquez.
Oh, that's easy. Expiring, do not resign.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, he's been awesome for the team. If you took so he's on $9 million a year. Damn, I guess nobody really Vallejo takes $2 million a year, but nobody really takes like much less than he does anyways on the team unless they're young. So I don't think I don't even think he'd want to stay for like 1/10 of that. You're not gonna get him. I don't think he'd want to stay for half. For half, I don't know if we keep him.
And it's a roster spot. You're holding a roster spot for what? For someone we're not going to play. This is my point. I don't like. Oh, let's keep him around for what? Because if someone else, if you keep him as your number 2, if the one goes down, what does that mean? Then you have to play him in the 2 spot, or you do that thing where we've been doing. Okay, just put Camavinga there. What I'm trying to do is avoid that situation where we go, no, just put Camavinga over here, move Fede to right. No. I don't want that. I want right backs where right backs belong and left backs, and I want midfielders. I don't want this constant shuttling around to keep these people on the field in positions that are not their best. So sorry, Lucas, you got to go.
Definitely. And so then we're at Mr. Brahim Diaz, who has a couple years left on his deal.
Yep.
If we're selling Rodrigo, and also, oh my God, that contract, dude, Rodrigo gets paid like $5 million more than him.
Mm-hmm.
Like
7.29 is what Brahim makes, and his contract expires in 2027. So I basically were like this: we keep Brahim, but the bottom line is this: is Sid, one of them is going. It's either Rodrigo or Brahim. We're not keeping both. And I think from a sell standpoint, we would get more. I think because of the potential of Rodrigo and because he's the stuff he's at the Champions League level. So move him on is what I think. And especially if you tell him you're not going to start, he'll want to leave. So we sell Rodrigo and keep Brahim.
Yeah, and I think Brahim is more amenable to a bench Real Madrid role.
Yes, correct.
Even during his prime years, I think he's just more amenable to something like that. And just the career trajectory. And then Raul Asensio. So
clear keep.
Yeah, he's on. So I guess they signed him to a deal. Yeah,
6.2 million expires in 29. I have a question for you, Sid. Is Asensio an undisputed starter, or is he more of a squad player?
No, he's not an undisputed starter because he's like shown an overzealousness in a few moments that everyone has pointed out, and it hasn't disappeared. He's not like perfect necessarily, and so I think he has to show he's an undisputed starter. But I think he's there to stay, and this is also just the reality of like Castilla players; they always have it uphill. But I think he's definitely there. I guess what I feel is like the way he's played, I think they're very keen to get a look at the guys who they already thought were better than him before, who got injured. And that's where I think like they're going to be like, listen, you're good. Now, how do you like, can you keep doing it? I think he's going to have to keep proving himself, honestly.
And that's fair.
It's just like how we kind of go with these young guys. Like,
well, it's a form of cognitive dissonance known as the anchoring effect, right? And it is the first impression that you get of something is what always sticks in your head, whether or not it's true, right? And the easiest way to talk about this is like college football polls, right? So let's say they rank Texas number 2, right? And Texas starts the year and they lose their first three games. Everybody's like, oh, they're not that good, whatever. And they right the ship and they win out the rest of the year and they finish the year somewhere ranked like 15th or whatever. Is it that they were better than we thought, Roars, or was it no, they were probably a 15th ranked team all along, but you thought they were 3 for whatever reason and you were wrong, right? But because that was the first impression you had of them, that 3 stuck in your head. So as a 15, they underperform versus no, they performed to actually what they are, which is a 15th ranked team, right? And so that's the situation with Asensio. Are those guys in Castilla because we heard about them better than him? Or is it because we've heard about them for someone that we think they are, but in reality, they just are who they are, right? And I think time will tell. And that's where we have to use more nuance and not let our cognitive bias fool us into thinking different things that aren't actually there.
Definitely. Definitely a thing. And that takes us to Fran Garcia. This is interesting. I think we need another left back. I don't know if it's Miguel. I mean, we're selling Mendy. Fran's tricky for me because I don't know if we sign another left back, I don't know if we need Fran and Miguel both. And
are we bringing Miguel back, you think?
I don't know, but I guess my point is like I'm not sure if I keep Fran over testing Miguel back. Like Fran just there's differences between them, but I think Miguel definitely understands like tempo of gameplay a little better. Like he can slow down. He doesn't always feel like he's frenetically rushed.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't like overlap up and down as aggressively as Fran. Maybe he plays slower, but that's the big difference I see. And I like his enthusiasm. I think ultimately, like he's a good backup left back, but not starting caliber is where I have Fran.
Oh, without question. I love the word you use with Fran because that's what it is. When you watch him, it's frenetic. It's just like nothing he does is calm or settled. It's like a jitterbug. It's like, dude, I need you to bring your heartbeat down just a half a beat, right? Like everything is too frenetic. At 5.2 million a year and the contract expires in 27, it's not hurting us on the books. And I think you're right. He is for sure a backup. Now, if we are in fact bringing Miguel back, then I don't think we need Fran and Miguel here, right? Because then if we're gonna actually sign a legit left back, because neither of them, Miguel or Fran, would we both agree are not starting left back quality. The question is, do you say forget that with both of them and you look at Jesus Fortea or one of these Castilla guys, right? And then you go out and sign your other left back, and then you have Fortea as the backup. This is, again, when we're thinking about this stuff, guys, it's not just done in a vacuum. Like, what is the short-term, medium-term, and long-term play here, right? Like, what makes sense? What is the profile that works? What do we need on a left side that's going to have Vinny and Mbappe, who likes to venture out there as well? Clearly someone who knows how to play defense, because we're going to have some trouble with them tracking back. Although my hope is that whomever the coach is, the new manager coming in, they get those two to give the requisite effort that is necessary, whether it be pressing out of possession, what have you.
Yeah, and I guess in that context, it looks like we're not bringing Miguel back. I feel like in that context, you need Miguel as a backup, you only need him to be good on one side of the ball. Like if you're bad on the other, like we won the Champions League with Mendy. So I would accept it if he was decent on one side or the other. I think there's a possibility he's decent enough on the ball, even with his like herky-jerky frenetic style of play. Even with that, he ends up working out enough because he's enthusiastic. If he's like a neutral defender in the right setup, or he becomes a big plus offensive player. I don't see the possibility of him being a big plus offensive fullback. Right. So with that out of the way, it's either you're a neutral defender or like just sell him and go take a flyer on someone. And so I'm like, you know what's funny? I would actually say like loan him, get his stock up, but we did that already. He's 25 now, it's too late. So considering it's cheating to put him there, I'm gonna say for me, like it's hard. I mean, he's really in the keep or sell column. For me, you ask the next coach, but Fran, unless next coach makes him serviceable, I'll say.
I'm with you there.
On defense, I'll say on defense especially. So let me move that in. I will say though, like there are many worlds where that's all he is. He's serviceable enough, and to be honest, at that salary,
that's fine. That's what you need.
Fine. But yeah, and if you take a flyer on someone, you take a flyer. Like make it someone who has upside because that's what you do. And then Arda, I mean, goes without saying,
easy keep.
You keep
and you make we are in the business of developing you as a player. You're going to get minutes so you can develop. Now, if you are making the same mistakes over and over and over and over, if you have not improved physically in certain areas, we're going to take away those minutes from you, not all at once, but whatever. So make some clear, you're not just going to hand you stuff just because, but you have to give him an actual opportunity to develop.
100%. I think he needs to be given the keys. So we'll throw Guler there. And then that leaves Lunin. Also, I put Vallejo in the just let him go.
Expire, do not resign is Vallejo.
I remember when we got him, like he was supposed to, like his coach said he's never seen a center back at that age with that maturity. When he was like 19, he was going to be the next big thing. Injuries, mental stuff, and next thing you know, it's a disaster.
It's how many, it's not just this sport, right? How many guys like coming out of high school, oh my God, number one player in their class, whatever, it's going to be a surefire NBA, whatever. And it just doesn't turn out that way, man. Like the jump from level to level is fucking hard, man. It's really hard. The level of discipline and work you have to be good at the professional level. Like it's insane. It's insane.
It is. And he never made it. Lunin, I mean, contract runs till 2030. You keep him. Like
you keep him 26 years old for arguably the best backup goalkeeper in the world. Maybe. Yeah. The question is, so here's what I say about that, Sid. You have to give him something. And I think you give him a competition. I think you give him Copa del Rey. It's like, all right, bro, Copa del Rey is yours. Like you have to get, because this constant like, oh, when we get to the final, we're putting Courtois in. It's like, no, you got to give him something, because this guy could be starting at other places. He really could be. So at that money, give him a competition. Copa del Rey is yours, my guy. Like,
yeah. A lot of clubs don't do that for some reason. Like, even though it's something that they should be doing, just trying to squeeze him in here.
Yeah.
But they should be. And we've seen teams try to do that. Like, I always look back to like one of my earlier seasons following football. Barcelona gave Claudio Bravo La Liga. They gave Marc-Andre Ter Stegen the Champions League and Copa del Rey. They won the treble the first year doing that. And then they just stopped doing it, I think, like slowly. Ter Stegen eventually took over, and they haven't done it since. But yeah, so Brahim, Asensio, Lunin, that takes us to Endrick, the last player. And I guess this kind of ties into our next episode, where we have to decide, okay, what are our like bench striker options going to be? What are our offensive options going to be? I think Endrick is not going to be our bench striker. Like, he can't head the ball, but off the bench with Rodrigo gone, I think you can develop him. Like, I think there's minutes to go around there, and I would keep him just because. Does he get better somewhere else consistently? Probably. I think, but though, training next to these guys week to week, it kind of gives you an edge, like technically, that you Like you're just seeing that in practice. You're shooting at Courtois in practice. I think there's enough minutes. Like a La Liga team is gonna have minutes for a young guy who can shoot the shit out of the ball off the bench. Like the boxes are gonna be packed. We're gonna use that profiles. Like we used Marco Asensio that way as a winger years ago. Like just even as a just come off the bench and shoot it from outside the box guy, I would keep him.
For me, and I love Endrick, and I'm very high on his potential and his future, but I'm in the loan category. There are some immaturities in his game that he's got to play out of his game, and he's not going to get the consistent minutes to play those out of his game. Like he just won't. But if he goes to a La Liga side that is lower in the table, where he's going to get consistent minutes, a coach and he will play those out of himself, because he'll realize I'm running up into a brick wall every time I try this stupid shit. Like the dummy movie try. Like it just like, bro, you cannot, like on the wing where you almost, Barca went on a counter and almost scored. Like you cannot be doing stuff like that. Like, and this is not the club where he's going to get the opportunity to play those mistakes out of his game. He's raw. He's got flair to he's got a whole lot of stuff going on that I think will be very valuable for us. But a lot of the immaturity has to get played out of. And it's not a negative on him. He's 18 years old and he's that's, you know, but I think he needs consistency to play that out of his game, and he will not get consistency here. And also, I think what he does, yes, it's chaotic. Yeah, he just rips and shoots. We have enough guys who want to rip and shoot. Like, he can't head the ball. Like, we need a different kind of off the bench profile striker than Endrick, I think. And so I'd much rather loan him out, have him play through that. Like, and then it's like, oh shit, Endrick lighting up. Then it's like, okay, you're coming back next year, right? Whatever the situation be, now you're ready, you know. But to me, I would loan him.
Yeah, totally. No, that makes sense. I think the main thing you get loaning him is like right now, because he's limited in minutes. Every time you see the field, you snatch at it. You snatch at the ball.
Yes, because I may not play again for a month. So
yeah. Like he sees goal, he's like, damn. Like if I don't score now, like they might just bench me the rest of the season. That's what he sees when he gets the ball. He sees goal. He sees like he feels the bench like creeping up on him, and he's like, I got to do something. Yeah, I think that's the big thing that you could get. To be honest, he might get loaned for that reason. I see like if we get rid of Rodrigo, and we already need a 9, a pure 9, maybe 2. To be honest, like we just need to be able to head the ball. We got Trent coming in. We need to be able to cross it to guys. So in that world, we might just be like, all right, Endrick, like we'll give you a year. We might sign a vet instead of him to give us minutes for 1 year. And yeah, that makes complete sense. But I think this is a pretty good list, though. Otherwise, like clear consensus here. Only question of whether we're loaning Endrick or not. Do we get an option where maybe we sell Ceballos and go for something new? And the market will tell us. Obviously, we haven't talked about who else we should sign to fill out the squad.
Yep, that'll be part 2.
Yep, that'll be something we do on part 2. Anything else here you want to talk about, Jarod? I feel like we have the list here for the.
We got the list. I feel pretty confident about where we are with everybody. Like, so what you guys can see is the spine and core of our team is look at that keep list. It's very good. So it isn't like, oh my God, Real Madrid has to have it's not a major overhaul. Like, look at that talent. The talent is there. We need the right system, the right manager. We need, something that really quick, Sid, from the game yesterday when the match against the Copa del Rey final, when Carlo was like, everyone thought we were going to get run over and we didn't, right? Look, I am not a Real Madrid exceptionalist, and I don't believe in that kind of like attitude or behavior. However, for a club of this stature, moral victories can't be a thing. Oh, you thought we were going to get beat 5-0 and we didn't. That means what? We still lost. Like, what is it? We still lost, right? Like, so we have to get that mentality out. If that's creeping in this, no. The standard here is winning. That is what we do here. We win, right? Not moral victories. Oh, we only lost 3-2 to Barcelona. Like, this is what Atletico Madrid says. This is not what we do. And so I think we need to get that sort of mentality out, get guys a little more disciplined, get them a little more hungry, a little more fighting. Like what we saw in that second half where they actually competed. As I said to you on the show yesterday, I was like, what? Or on Saturday, why is competing, like, why is it the first time those guys actually competed hard? That should be the bare minimum. Competing should be just standard. That's what you do. You compete. Like, so we got to get that back into the club level. And again, whenever a manager comes in, that's what they do. And then we figure out around the edges, what do we need? Do we need a 9 that can head the ball? Do we need, and we get our various things in there.
Yeah, and actually, I'm gonna say we loan out Endrick because I forgot we got Nico Paz coming back in, so I'm gonna say we keep Nico, just see what he can give us, kind of like Brahim. Rodrigo's gone. That's our Rodrigo replacement. Right there.
Yes. I love bringing Paz back, and then he comes, right? So, and Paz is your Jude. That's where Jude gets rest, right? Jude gets rest, Paz plays, right? So I like that. I love the idea of Arda and Paz linking up. Woo, that's some nice, right? Again, like we gotta. And by the way, Nico's had a great year at Como. He's really played well at Como, so I think it'll be good for him.
Yeah, and I mean Como's awesome. Like the idea of like starting a club there, it's so beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
Some location's so beautiful. You're like, dude, some rich dude, go buy a team, start a team. Everyone will play for you. And look what they did. Everyone tried to retire. It comes like Varane, Fabregas. They got everybody in. It's fun for him. I'm glad he got to spend a year out in Como, Italy, too. Good for you, man. It's beautiful.
Lake Como, man. Could you imagine? Oh, what a life.
Dude, what a life. I mean, honestly, like I love Real Madrid, but the dream football job is probably Como.
Oh, without question, it's Como. Without question.
But yeah, hopefully we get some of that fresh Como energy from Paz next year, change things up. Well, Jarod, this has been fun. We'll be back maybe later this week or whenever soon to go over who we're signing to fill out the squad.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, all the different channels. We're slowly ramping up our coverage as the season ends. Thank you for tuning in.
Take care.